All right. So if yours is not working, don't delete your whole screen. Leave it up there. That way, when I look at it, I don't have to recopy everything. I can just copy a few things. But you should be okay. Um, don't delete everything. Don't delete the entire screen. Okay, Mondo.
Four on point three. I'm pretty sure I'm getting the right slope, but
All right. I'll address that here in just a bit. Let me finish the notes here. All right. So the last case. So the first case is you're given a point, or you're given a slope, and you're given a y-intercept. Easiest case. Second case is you're given a slope and you're given a point. Okay, and so we now have a user-defined function that allows you to enter that. The last case is going to be if you're given two-ordered pair. And once again, you can solve this one of two ways. You can either solve it with a slope-intercept form, or you can solve it point-slope. Okay, so let's take a look at each of these cases. All right, if you're going to solve it by doing the point-slope form, the only added step from the previous example is you have to actually calculate the slope first. So you'll find the slope first, and then what you'll do is you'll plug in the slope, the x, and the y. Solve for your b value, and then you'll plug in the slope and the b value into the y equals mx plus b form. Okay, so if we were working through this process, we'd first find our slope here. Our slope is going to be the difference of the y's, so 2 minus a negative 1 over the difference of the corresponding x's, 4 minus a 1. So minus a negative becomes, you add the opposite, becomes a positive 1. So we get 3 over 3, or we wind up with a slope of 1 for this problem. And then we can just plug that into our y equals mx plus b form. Plug in our given y. We can choose either point now. Now it doesn't matter. Often I'll probably just pick the positive, the coordinate with the most positive number. So 2 is my y value. My m value I just found to be a 1. My x value is a 4. And now when I solve for this, I subtract a 4 from both sides, giving me a negative 2 is equal to my y-intercept. And now your last part, you just plug your equation in. Y is equal to 1x minus 2 is my y-intercept. And this is the solution or the equation for this information. Okay, now I could also have gone through the point-slope form. The point-slope form still involves beginning with the slope. Okay, it then involves plugging in the x1, y1, and the slope value. And then all you'd have to do for this is to solve for y. And by solving for y, you will have your equation of that line. Okay, so the slope's already taken care of. So we found the slope here. It's the exact same slope, 1. And then it's just a matter of plugging in your information. So my y1 value, I can again choose either point. I'm going to choose 2 is equal to my slope of 1 times x minus my x coordinate 4. Distribute my 1, which I don't really have to do. And then combine my like terms, so add a 2 to both sides. I get x minus 2. And once again, I confirm that I get the same answer, so that's the equation of my line.